Hey everyone, welcome back to Rhythm Railroad. This is a quick update video on my new layout space for my HO scale layout. If you've been watching my other videos, you know that I'm switching scales from N to HO. And the reason being is that I acquired this new space here, which is a lot larger than what I had upstairs on my second floor. On my last video, I had some of the floor done, but now it's complete. All the tile is down. The reason we went with tile down here is because if any spills or anything from the layout get on the tile, it's easy to clean. I don't have to deal with wood getting scratched or rug getting wet and moldy. So, and if not that it's ever happened, but if at any time water comes in through the walls or because of heavy rain or whatever, tile would be a lot more able to withstand that. So that's why I went with tile. Plus we have washer, dryer, laundry stuff here, and if anything goes wrong with the plumbing, again, it's on the tile, so it's just better. Right now we're up to, I guess, electrical and insulation. We roughed out all the sockets, all the outlets rather, and I'm trying to get as many as possible so that we have plenty of power down here in order to, to feed the layout accordingly. That's one thing I ran into a problem with upstairs. I only had 2 outlets in the entire room because it was a very old room. So now I'm trying to make sure that I have plenty, including quads. Every so often I'm trying to put the quads kind of like in the middle of every wall there, and also in that area over there, same thing. And so like I said, we roughed out the outlets, and all the electrical is pretty much done anyway for the lighting, but we're gonna obviously, once we sheetrock, we're gonna make it look much better with hi-hats and the placement of the lighting. Right now, these are temporary. I just put them up so we can see down here. So the electrician's actually coming tomorrow to hook it all up, or at least to, make sure everything is able to be hooked up, so that once we put the sheetrock up, we are able to just, connect the outlets and the lights without any problems. As far as insulation goes, which is the other thing that I've been working on. We were originally going to do the spray foam insulation down here, and we were very, very close to getting the truck to come, because that's why we're trying to get all the outlets and everything set up, because once you spray the foam, it seals everything in. So what we decided to do is not do the spray foam, because we were watching not 1, not 2, but 3 or more videos on how dangerous spray foam can be to your health, especially if it's not done correctly. And apparently, even though, it's a good insulation, it's probably the best out there as far as the R value, but if it's not the perfect condition for the 2 chemicals that are combined to cure correctly, it could be a disaster, with fumes and things being, let out. So what we decided to do is, actually as of yesterday, we decided to go with this stuff called Roxol, which is made out of like recycled material. It's not fiberglass. And the way it works, it comes in like sections that fit exactly between the studs, if the studs are set at 16 center to center. So we actually used it upstairs in my back gym, and it's probably the warmest and quietest room we have in the entire house. The rest of the house we did fiberglass with the traditional method, and it's not as warm as that gym. So I think it'll be the perfect situation here, because not only is it fire retardant, and you know, a lot better for your health since it doesn't have any toxic chemicals or anything like that. But it's also easy to put in, and if anything goes wrong, it can be taken out easily as well, which you can't do with foam. You have to cut things out, and it's a little bit of a mess. So that's what we went with. One other thing, speaking of insulation and keeping this place at the right temperature, we decided to run our PEX through the studs. And what we're doing in between is, this is gonna run out to the boiler, but what we're doing in between is using cast iron baseboards, which we're big fans of the cast iron baseboards. I know they're a little bit old fashioned, but we have them upstairs and they're just solid. And once they get hot, they stay hot. Unlike baseboard, which tends to cool off very, very fast once the heat turns off and the thermostat turns off. So we're gonna do a few. So what we did is we ran the PEX, left 2 tails. So we're gonna put a 4-footer here or a 5-footer. I think it's 4 feet. Then this is gonna be up to the corner here. Then here, because we couldn't get that PEX in the corner, we decided let's just start the baseboard here. We're gonna elbow it. We'll start the baseboard here and go about 6 feet to there, and then obviously I got to drill those holes and continue to the other side. And we're probably going to put either one here, another 4 or 5-footer, or back there to fill up this quarter. And then we're not sure what we're going to do in the back here, but we'll figure it out. This room is going to have a wall here, which by the way was a change, because originally I was gonna make the wall go straight to that red pole there, and then it was gonna do a 90-degree angle that way. But it was supposed to be in line with the pole like this. So it was brought to my attention in a reasonable way that if we do that, then there's going to be very little room here to access the machines, and we're going to put some storage here with closets. So we compromised, meaning my wife and I. We compromised, and we brought the wall back here 1 foot, but also the wall's going to go like this up to about here, and then it's going to make a 45-degree angle this way, which actually helps me very much. It's better than having this 90-degree here, because with this 45-degree angle, all my radius curves are going to be a lot softer. In other words, any tracks that come out of this room are going to bend slightly, very, very soft curves this way, and now they can just hug the wall, in the same direction as the wall, allowing me to turn this a lot smoother, rather than making a 90-degree turn here and having to really go tight so I can get back in here, so then I can also make that radius, as large as possible. So that's a good thing, I guess, that we decided to do that. So that's basically it as far as construction goes. Once the electrician's done, we can start doing all the insulation on the walls. The only thing I have to do is add a few more studs here, because the laundry room is not going to be finished, meaning there's not going to be like insulation and a full wall like this. It's going to be more like the open in case the boiler, something goes wrong with the boiler, or all the plumbing is here. So if anything goes wrong, it's open, it's accessible. If anything, we might put a drop ceiling here just to make it look a little nicer. But we don't want to cover the walls in case something goes wrong. So that's that. The tile came out great. I'm super happy with it. The guys we got did really nice jobs around the poles and everything. And even the hole, I don't know if you remember, there's a giant hole here for this pipe. One of my older videos, that got covered beautifully. So it's accessible, that pops out, but you can barely tell it's there, and you can walk on it, which is nice. So this is really coming along very nicely. As far as the layout goes, which is, I guess, the interesting part, basically what's going to happen is that there's going to be a double deck main layout, but it's going to have a third deck for staging and possibly a fourth deck only for a return loop in the upper level, meaning it's going to go above the second main deck in order to turn around and come back down. But I'm still working on that. That's the one thing I'm really not sure how I'm going to do. But basically the way it's going to work is this room is going to be where everything starts. So the yard is basically going to start here. I imagine, you know, at least a foot in or 2 feet in of bench work, so that the yard can be, you know, several lines along with whatever, like there's engine facility or some kind of, you know, repair in place building or something. But I want it to be like a real yard, not just a staging yard up here. So the staging yard, I mean the real yard is going to be here. It's going to turn here and turn here as well. So it's plenty of room. I would say, you know, at least 14 feet of yard. I think that's plenty for the trains that I'm going to be running. And then it'll start to narrow as it gets to this pole, because this is where that wall angles in. So by the time I get here, I want to be at double track, double main, or a single main. I'm not sure how I'm going to work that out, but probably double. And then the idea is that it's going to come through here. It's going to start the radius curve here, the probably 33 or a little bigger. I could probably pull 36 here. It's going to come around this way, but I do want a short line that's going to just do the perimeter of the room. So it might split here, and the short line might just continue straight. So there's going to be a divider here for the peninsula. So as the train turns here, it would have been climbing already from the minute we got into this side of the room. So it's going to be a very, very slight climb, like a 1%, I would say 1.5 at most. And it's going to start climbing, but what I wanted to do here is go right up to the wall. It might be in a tunnel, and then try to keep turning so that it goes a little bit under the staircase. Now, I wasn't going to do this because I wanted to be able to follow the train all the way around, but if I make an aisle here, this radius is going to be very tight. Not very tight, but it's going to be tight to a degree where if I put, like, for example, a 33 here, which would give me a comfortable aisle space, I don't want the top layer to be a 33 also, because then the bench work's going to be even. And my idea was that the lower level bench work was going to be bigger and then the upper level smaller. So the 33 has to be the second layer, the second turn here, the second curve. So I want this to be much larger. So the idea is that if I duck it under the stairs a little bit, it'll allow me to come around, just clear this, and then I can have a much wider radius, still giving me an aisle and still giving me about 2 feet on that side for bench work, and then come around here, tuck back in, and then here what I might do, since I've been climbing the whole time, you know, I'm assuming the track will be at least 3 or 4 inches high at this point, so I can clear, you know, higher than that side. So I can probably clear that track by going through the wall into that side of the scene for a minute, and then coming back into a tunnel here, so that I can make this probably a 33 here. Now over here, because of this electrical box, there's going to be a big door on an angle here that's gonna have the layout on it, and I'm gonna be able to open it up. It's gonna be like one of those secret bookshelf type doors. So I'm gonna be able to put, you know, whatever benchwork on it, and then the whole thing is just gonna open up. And I already figured out how I'm gonna do that. A good friend of mine works for a custom hinge maker, so he's getting me some good hinges to make that work. Anyways, so we continue here. We're still climbing slightly. The benchmark originally on that side would have been at about 40 or 42 inches. I really wanted a 44 start, but it's then the second level gets too high. So I'm assuming by here it would be at I don't know. I would say at least 48, because I would have had to clear that over there. So probably more like 50. So I would be around here somewhere. And then the idea is that as it keeps climbing, it's getting ready to overlap the other, you know, the yard which is coming up. So here would be a turn here. And then this benchwork's going to be narrow. I only wanted about a foot, if that, because I want the main space to be, you know, that way. So it's going to come around, it's going to be climbing. Once we get to the staircase, it's really going to hug the wall because I don't want to, you know, to be sticking out that far. So it's really going to go right, basically as deep as a locomotive. And it's probably going to be covered with something here. So it's going to go through just for, you know, a short distance. And then here it would open up again into this room. But now we're above the benchwork, which would have been down here for the yard. So now we're like up here somewhere, which I want it to be at least a foot and a half higher than the benchwork here. So now I want to be riding around here somewhere at like eye level, and still, you know, still climbing a bit, but I might get it just to the window level here. So again, the yard would have been, actually marked it. The yard would have been here, and I'm hoping to be here by the time I get back to this location. Then I'm going to continue to climb, but you know, it's ever so slightly. And then now I'm high, you know, just like the rest of the second level. So once I get up here to a comfortable height, then I might be able to level out a little bit. And it would do the same, basically the same run. The only difference is that when I get here, the radius is going to be smaller. So it's going to be more like this. Okay, so it's going to turn in. Oops. It's going to turn in. But like the other curve is going to be out here, and the upper curve is going to be here, so you can see the scenes clearly. So it's going to be a tighter turn, 33, hopefully. And it's going to do the same thing. It's just going to basically follow the same path as the lower deck. So now I'm going to be up here somewhere, hopefully. This will probably be about, you know, the middle of the window here. And I'll probably make this track here like removable. This benchwork's removable so that I can access the window if I need to. So then now that I'm way up here, the idea is that I want to get as high as possible without, you know, without a ridiculous grade. And then I want to get real high up here so that I can be real close to the roof, to the ceiling. And then this way, the original plan was to make the reverse loop right against the ceiling, you know, like where the beam is, around like this, and then back that way. But the only problem with that is that then my ceiling height is going to have to, you know, come down significantly, which, I mean, you can't see it right now, but I'm standing, there's only about 5 inches between my head and the beam here. So with the sheetrock and everything, it's going to be even lower. So I didn't want to, you know, bring the ceiling height that low. So I don't know. I have a few things in mind, and this is what I'm talking about with the fourth deck. Because if I just do the loop here and come back, you know, it's going to basically lower all of this to like around here. But it's an easy loop to go back, you know, and around. My other idea was somehow to, once I get here, get under the beam and then start to climb so that by the time I get here, now I'm like out of the way of the aisle. So it's actually next to the beam. And now I'm just hugging it. And it's not supposed to be like an exposed, it's not like a scenic, you know, part of the layout. And then once I get into this room, then somehow I would turn the loop here because this is all bench work and whatever anyway. So I could probably turn it within the you know, the cover around the valance, around the layout. So I got to figure out if that would work. The only thing that's kind of weird about that is that there's going to be a lot of time where the train's not seen, you know, where it's going to be like just, you know, riding real high there. So unless I can make it somehow, you know, a small scenery, like just a little, you know, little scene behind the track where it's almost like a photo backdrop or something. I don't know. I got to figure it out. But the idea is that it would loop back and come back in here and then back, you know, where it came from. It comes down again. So that's the only thing I'm struggling with is that return loop at the top. But at the bottom, like I said, the yard would be here. So the idea is that all the way in the back of the yard, there's one track that's going to, once I make this turn here, one of the yard tracks is going to start going underground. So it's going to, you know, dip through the bench work. And I have all of this space to get down to where I want to be. Because I want the yard, the staging yard, basically to start around here somewhere. So then by the time I'm here, hopefully, you know, I'm just clear of the bottom of the bench work at this level, which remember, this would have been higher here. So, you know, I got to figure out how I'm going to do that. But at the same time, I was hoping to just have a track that ran around the whole perimeter, which would have been the short line. So if that's the case, then I have to, you know, I probably have to dip even lower. But I think I have enough room to get down here. If not, I could start dipping over there right away so that as I'm turning, it's already, you know, making its way down. So by the time I get here, I'll be very low down here somewhere. And the idea is that the staging yard opens up here, I don't know, 6 to 8 tracks. And then this whole thing is going to be filled with staging all the way through. And then once I get here, because of the situation with the big door here, I have to narrow it down back down to 1 track. And then that's going to be, it's going to go back under the peninsula this way, under the whole layout. And I'm going to have like scenes in there, but they're going to be, you know, only a foot or so like away from the other bench work, so I can't do anything too crazy. But the idea is that it's going to go under the peninsula and do the return loop here, come back around, and then reconnect, and then make its way back up again with the staging here. So it's going to be coming around and then work its way back up, and it'll spit out the same way that it came down. So that's where I'm at right now. I don't know. At least I have a basic idea of where my main lines are going to go, but that might change like most layouts do. I might come across something that might work better in the near future. So hopefully I'll make it as efficient as possible. I just don't want to have like, I want to be able to get as much track in here as I can without making it where you can't even walk in here, which is a mistake I made with my N-scale layout. I made the aisles too small, and then you couldn't get 2 people through without, you know, bumping into them, and it just gets uncomfortable. And then you can't even step back to see the layout because you're right on top of the layout the entire time. So I do want to make sure that I don't make that mistake again. But you know, even though this basement is big, it's not tremendous, and I'm modeling a much bigger scale now. So, you know, every time I do something, it requires a lot of room, the curves, the grades, and everything. So that's where I am at this point. So I don't know. I'll make a few more update videos as the basement is completed. And then I can't wait to make the video when the first piece of bench work goes up, that would be a great day. But I think we have a little while before that happens. Anyways, so I'll be seeing you in my next video, hopefully soon. Take care.